Okay, in this video, I'm just trying to work on lesson number 3, unit 3. So the main goal of this lesson is to explore exponents like raised to half or raised to one third. What does that mean? And also I can write square and cube roots as exponents. So I would go straight away to the problem, practice problem. The very first one, it says, complete the table and use the powers of 64. It means 64 raised to half maybe, or 64 raised to one third, or 64 raised to minus 1, or 64 raised to minus 2. So what does this 64? For this we need to understand also before I show this. Remember, if I write x squared is, let's see, is 9, then x is written as square root of 9. Of course, we know what number multiply itself. To get 9 is 3 because 3 times 3 is 9. So in other words, this square root of 9 in place of x. So in place of x, I can replace by square root of 9. This means it is 9. See? So in other words, square root of 9 times square root of 9 is 9. So take note of this. And also, why this is same as writing 9 raised to half. So the question is why. So the question is why square root of 9 is same as 9 raised to half. And we have seen the square root of 9 times square root of 9 is 9. So the question is, if I multiply 9 raised to half itself 2 times, do you get 9? You can use laws of exponent and write this as 9 raised to this, which is same as 9 half plus 1 half. And that is half plus half is 1 and you get 9, see? So it's the same thing. So 9 raised to half, when you multiply itself twice, you get 9. And square root of 9 also multiply itself twice, you get 9. Therefore, this is always true. And not only this, we can also do it also for 3. Let's see, what x cube is 8. So x is cube root of 8 by definition. But then why it is 8 raised to 1 third? Can we write like this? Now, when we plug this in here, it means it is cube root 8 times raised to the power 3 is 8. From when we plug in here, so that means cube root of 8 times cube root of 8 times 3. So 3 cube root of 8, when you multiply, you get 8. So this is how it works here, right? So my question is, can we also multiply 8 over 8 raised to the power 1 third? 3 times do you get? So like, what is this? 8 raised to 1 third, 8 raised to 1 third, and 8 raised to 1 third. And you see, it's 8 raised to 1 third plus 1 third plus 1 third, and which is 8 raised to 1. So you get that 8 back, the same 8. In other words, cube root of 8 is 8 raised to 1 third. So that's all we are understanding in this lesson is, so we can remember this as if there is a nth root of b, the same is writing b raised to 1 over n. So that's the understanding in this lesson. Now let's go directly to, in this question, the practice problem number 1. Complete the table and use the powers of 64. Now here, 64 raised to 1 is 64. So this is already given. 64 raised to 1 is 64. And this part, 64 raised to half. Now what is the meaning of this? Remember, it is the same as writing a square root of 64. What number multiply itself twice to get 64? What number multiply itself to get 64? And you can see it has to be 8 times 8, which is 8. So this answer is 8. Now in this example there is a 4 there. So 4 multiplied, how many 4s do you multiply to get 64? So you have to use 64 raised to 1 over what? So you can see 4 times 4 times 4 is 64. So we can write this as 3 times. So 64 1/3 basically means cube root of 64. It means what number multiply itself 3 times to get this 64. So it has to be 4 4 4. And that's why this 4 which was here 4 is. And because the base has to be 64 here. So you can see this 4 is multiplied 3 times to get this 64. So you write 1 over 3. This 64 raised to 0 is always 1 because anything raised to 0 is 1. Now here there's 1 over 8. Somehow you have to write 64 raised to. You know 8 square is 64, right? But 8 raised to minus 2 is 1 over 64. In other words, 64 is same as writing 1 over 8 raised to minus 2. So here, this will have to be written as not just half, but I'll have to write. So if you write 64 raised to half, 64 raised to half is square root of 64, which is 8. But you need to have a fraction one away, and that's why it has to be 64 raised to minus half, because this is same as 64 raised to half, and that is 1 over square root of 64, and that gives you 1 over 8. So if there is a fraction, you have to put a minus here. And the last one is 64 raised to minus 1 is same as 1 over 64. You're done. That's because a raised to minus p is 1 over a raised to p. So if there is a raised to minus 3, it is 1 over a raised to 3. If it is a raised to minus 2, it is 1 over a raised to 2. So this takes care of the first problem. Question number 2 is, suppose that a friend missed class and never learned. What does this basically means? 25 raised to the 5. Use your exponent rules. Your friend already know how to calculate this. So that means you multiply 25 itself. This, suppose you multiply it. Let's see what you get here. It means this is the m and this is the n. So we can always write half plus half. And that is 25 raised to 1, which is 25. So that means 25 raised to half multiply itself gives you 25. So that means this 25, 25, this 25 raised to half is the square root of 25. That means 25 raised to half is the square root of 25. It's because you multiply this itself twice, you end up getting 25. That's why we say why this means 20. Why 25 raised to half is 5? Because when you multiply, because this when you multiply itself, you get 5, and 5 multiplied by 5 itself also is 25. So that's why this answer is 5. Question number 3 is showing some option. Which expression is equivalent to 16 raised to half? So what is 16 raised to half? What is 16 raised to half means? Basically, this is the same as square root of 16. So asking a question, what number multiply itself twice to get 16? You can see it has to be 4. And why it is 4? Because 4 times 4 is 16. So the answer, so these two things mean the same thing. Square root of 16 is same as 16 raised to half, because 16 raised to half when you multiply itself gives you 16. And this also multiplied itself gives you 16. So both give you the same answer 4. So each of this answer is 4 because 16 times is 16 and square root of 16 times square root of 16 is 16 and 4 times 4 is 16. I hope this takes care of that. You could also write another way this 16 raised to half as 16 is 4 square. So in place of this, I'll write half as it is, and instead of 16, you write 4 square. And this becomes 4 power of power, which is 4 raised to 2 over 2, and gives you 4 raised to 1 is 4. That also is correct. So we need to select, there are 5 of them, which could be the correct. Can this be the answer? This will be 2 raised to 5 plus 2, which is 2 raised to 7. And if you see, if you multiply this, you get 128. When you multiply 2 itself, this will be this. So remember 4 raised to 10, we can write it as 2 raised to 2 and 10. And this is 2 times 10, and that is correct. See? So this is correct. What about this? This is the same as 4 raised to 4 plus 6, which is 4 raised to 10. And it is the same thing. So this also is correct. This is 4 raised to 7 plus, and this is not correct because this is not the same thing. What about the last one? You can write a quotient of power, so this becomes minus of minus 6, which is 4 raised to 4 plus 6. And that is correct. So this is how you're supposed to remember. Question number 5 is a table shows the age, length, and the volume of different cubes. So this is a cube. So they gave you the age length. Suppose this is the A, and A, then the volume is A raised to power 3. If you want to find the age of one of them, it will be cube root of the volume, or it is also V raised to 1/3. So suppose this is given to you 3, the age length is 3. So if this is 3, this is 3, and that is 3, so you multiply itself because 3 raised to 3, which is 3, 3, and 3 get 27. So this answer is. So now you need to know what is the, if the volume of this box is already 64, what number multiply itself? So it has to be 444. So in other words, you have to write. So you want to know side length when the volume is given. See, this is V. So it is side length is cube root of 64. So what number multiply itself 3 times to get 64, and it has to be 4, 4, and 4. So this answer becomes 4. The next one is 84. Now 84, we don't have an actual number, integer, natural number, or whole number to get 84. So all you do is you just keep this keep it cube root of 85. Sorry, and then this one is giving you side length as cube root. So the volume there will become. So the side length is given. It means it is cube raised to 100, and this answer is nothing but 100, right? Because that's what we have seen that when you multiply itself, this, because there's a 3, so the answer this is 100, and that's why we write 100 here. Here it is 125, so this is cube root of 125. And what number multiply itself to give you 125 is 5, because 5 times 5 times 5 is 125. And here Again, it will be 147 because cube root of 147. That's it. So remember the trick here is if you have square root of a times square root of a is a, which is same as a raised to half times a raised to half, and cube root of a times cube root of a times cube root of a is a again, which is same as a raised to half to the one third, a raised to one third times a raised to one third. So the area of a side length, the square has a side length. So this is given the square root of 82. If this also is square root of. What is the area of the square? So the area of the square is length times width. So it means both square root of 82 times square root of 82. And clearly see when you have two square root, that means this is square root. Square root, the answer is straight away 82. Because this 82 raised to half, get, and you're done. So this completes lesson number 3.